Thanks for joining us here for This Week in Agribusiness. It is a volatile time in agriculture with input prices surging and commodity prices highly variable, and that can create stress on the farm. Recently on This Week in Agribusiness, we've been talking about mental health, and our friends from FMC are helping us put together this series, Cultivating Mental Health. Max had a chance to catch up with an old friend of his.
Mike, it's a gentleman we've known for quite some time joining us this weekend. Longtime agribusiness industry executive Jeff Winton. And goodness gracious, we go back many years indeed, Jeff. But I want to talk about your latest passion, something that is very, very important to you and that we've been talking about in recent months on This Week in Agribusiness, and that's farmer mental health. You've started a nonprofit in that regard.
Yes, indeed. And Max, it's a pleasure to see you again after all these years. It has been some time. A year ago, we launched a new organization called Rural Minds, and we are specifically focused on shedding a light on the stigma and the suffering that is occurring in rural areas across this country because of mental health issues, suicide ideation, and substance use disorder. This is something very personal to me. My nephew, who worked here on the farm I'm speaking to you from in upstate New York, died by suicide when he was 28 years old, leaving behind 3-year-old twins. And it was a real wake-up call for my family and for the community that we had an issue on farms and ranches, small communities, mining villages and fishing villages across this country. And there wasn't really adequate resource that was being allocated to address this like there was in urban and suburban areas. So we're solely focused on people that live in rural areas, which, as I'm sure you're aware, 65 million Americans live in what's considered rural areas in this country. That's a huge part of the population.
Many people say after it happened that they had no idea, and there's that sense of helplessness of, oh, if we'd only known, if we could have done something. I think there's that grieving burden that goes along with the loss of that family member, that loved one, that neighbor. And this is a particularly tough time of the year, too, it occurs to me. You know, sometimes we look around the Thanksgiving dinner table as we have this weekend, and there's somebody not there. And maybe this is a great time to be addressing this and to share with folks that there are resources and where we can find them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, there are plenty of resources available. And if your viewers would go to ruralminds.org, we have a part of our website that has congregated a number of these resources that are available. When we launched a year ago, we realized that there were ample training courses and resources out there, but they weren't getting in the hands of the people that necessarily needed them, the people that we serve. So rather than reinventing the wheel and developing new materials, we have put everything together again on our website. And that would be a good place for people to go because there's a lot of documents on there about how to have a difficult conversation. But more than anything, we tell people you just need to listen. People that are dealing with mental health issues, people that are dealing with the potential of suicide, just need one sympathetic person to listen to. You don't have to be a trained professional. I'm not a trained mental health professional. I'm just a family member of someone who was lost way too soon to this emergency pandemic that's spreading across this country. And people can do that very easily without having to feel that they're required to give advice or counsel.
Ruralminds.org. We're sorry for your loss indeed, Jeff. And, maybe we can save some other folks, make a real difference through your voice and the folks at FMC who are helping make our series possible. And that special edition of Farm Futures, by the way, we'll put that code on the screen so folks can download it if they don't already have it, if it didn't already come in their mailbox on the rural route. Jeff Winton, ruralminds.org. Mike.
Well, thank you, Max, for that conversation. And thank you, Jeff, for the work you're doing for farmer mental health. Folks, if you'd like to read that Farm Futures Cultivating Mental Health edition, you can do it right now. Point your camera at the image on your screen and click the link that appears. It'll take you right to that magazine's edition.